It's Jen. This is another episode of Reframing Me, and I am your host, Dr. Jennifer Brubaker. So today is a very special day, like one of the specialest of days. It's my birthday. I'm actually recording this on my birthday morning. And so it is my annual opportunity to remind you of how unimportant the number is and how the goal should always be to be ageless, not young. I don't want to be young again. I like me much better this way. Youthful, yes. Young, no. And youthful, well, you can always find that at any age. So today, April 9th, is my birthday, and I do love my birthday because it makes me feel special. And really, who doesn't like to feel special? But I mean, it's a Tuesday, so it's pretty much a normal day. I mean, outside of a very cute new shirt that I have saved to wear. I mean, I'm not wearing it now and I'm not really going anywhere. But when I do for my son's lacrosse game, I am going to look super cute. Hey, I mean, it's something, right? You got to take what you can get. So I am turning 48 at 9 p.m. this evening, but honestly, that means nothing to me because I don't really know how is 48 supposed to feel. I mean, I can't say I feel 38 or 28 either because I just really feel pretty much the same. My life is what's just different now. And I've now had different experiences to draw from. So, how about you? Do you feel your age? Because I know that there are young people out there who act and feel old. And I know that there are older people who act and feel young. And for me, I don't have any doubts that I am going to remain healthy, active, vibrant, no matter how old I am. I know that I'm always going to stay up to date on music and fashion and language and pop culture. I'm always going to try new things. I will most likely never be one to act or talk or dress or look my age. But don't mistake that for me trying to be young because I know that younger ages, they didn't have any meaning to me either. So while I will never acknowledge or say, oh, we're getting so old. Yes, I know that I'll be older than I was in the past, but I also know that I'm younger than I will be in the future. So am I supposed to feel different simply because my numerical age is different? Because I don't. I feel and I aim to continue to feel what I call ageless. So instead, I choose to focus on how I feel and what I'm doing and all that I'm accomplishing. I am choosing to focus on more the context of my life. Whereas I believe that some people instead really do choose to focus on the age. But really, it's that they choose to focus on age and aging, like the aches and the pains and the wrinkles and the gray. They focus on like, oh, the inevitability of it. But you know what? People of all different ages have aches and pains and wrinkles and gray. So instead, I just choose to focus on the context that I'm living my life in. Sure, the number is there. And I am reminded that today on my special day, but instead I am focusing on it being my special day and celebrating me and celebrating another year of happiness and success. And I'm looking ahead and I'm just being grateful that I have even been given the possibility of another year. Because regardless of the age or the number, that is something that isn't guaranteed to people of any age. So that is what we're going to have a conversation about today on this fabulous day of my birth. Okay. We're going to talk about our contextual age. All right. We talked about this last year on my birthday and the different types of aging. And I just think it's a really good topic to be reminded about sometimes because I do feel like sometimes we need to remind ourselves of this, especially at this point, at this age that we're at, these 40s for the majority of us. We're watching our kids growing up. We see our parents aging, and it can be really easy for us to get caught up in the I'm getting old mindset. And that is a really dangerous mindset to get caught up in, for sure, because it is a downhill spiral, 100%. What is it about some people that make them seem so much older or so much younger than their actual age? Okay, so I first learned that this was even an area of communication research way back in graduate school, because two of my professors, Alan and Becky Rubin, were the seminal researchers on this topic. Now, the Rubins are they would be, I would guess they're around, they were probably a little bit younger than my parents. So they're probably mid 70s at this point. So they've been doing this since the 80s. So you can do the math and figure out that they were pretty young when they started looking at aging. There is the 20-year-old who feels like she's 30, the 60-year-old who looks like she's 40, the 40-year-old who acts like he's 60. And, there's the 80-year-old who you wouldn't guess to be more than late 50s. Chronological age is merely the length of time that has passed since your birth. That's it. It only concerns the external, purely physiological aspects of life. All right. We often feel like we are a different age. Personally, I identify as 32. I have no idea why 32, but I think it's a really good age. Old enough to be smarter and know what's up, and yet young enough to be youthful. So I choose to identify as being 32 if I really need to think of an age. You don't like it? So what? I don't care. See, at 48, I can confidently say that I don't care if somebody likes what I feel. Now, age identity refers to the labels that we often place on ourselves to reflect like our self-perceptions in terms of age. So like belonging to or longing to belong to some type of reference group for social categorization. All right. So like how people tend to disassociate themselves from a category of being old or being elderly, or like how now we kind of refer to people in generational term, like boomer or Gen X or millennial or Gen Z. And that's super interesting to me always because that's a really new phenomenon. Like 20 years ago, when I initially did research on aging, contextual age, that was definitely not a way that we classified ourselves. And, technically I am Gen X and I relate to a good amount of Gen X stuff, like especially pop culture wise. But age wise and year of birth wise, I am like the tail end of Gen X. So I really identify more as a millennial behavior wise, I think, and not one of those elder millennials, which really is such a gross term. Who named that? But like a younger Gen Z adjacent millennial, which really I barely qualify as elder millennial, let alone, Gen Z millennial adjacent wise. But anyway, because chronological age is such a poor predictor of age and of the actual aging process, researchers have developed a lot of alternative non-chronological age measures. So First, of course, there is your biological age. All right. Biological age is the one that refers to how old your cells and your tissues are. So it's based more on like physiological evidence. All right. If you're especially healthy and fit, your biological age is probably lower than your chronological age. But if you're sedentary or out of shape, chronically ill, your biological age may actually be higher than your chronological age. Now, research shows that your biological age is actually a better predictor of death and disease than your chronological age is. Now, you can go online and take quizzes if you actually want to. They ask you health-related questions like things about your diet and exercise and your happiness and your stress. I have absolutely no idea how accurate these are, but the one that I did said that my biological age is 37. So, see, I am actually closer to 32 than I am to 48. Now, another measure is your social age. That is your age in terms of like your social roles. So, how mature you are in terms of things like interpersonal skills, how able you are to behave and to meet expectations that society places on you compared to others of the same age. Social age is really more of a measure for younger people, like teenagers or mostly really children. When people say things like, wow, she is really mature for her age, that type of thing. Now, perceived age is just that, how old others would perceive you to be. So, yes, that includes how old you look. Just like social age tends to be more for children, perceived age research is more focused on those who are over 70. So, like 70 in chronological years. And research shows that that it is a strong predictor of survival in those over 70 to have a younger perceived age, because that correlates to other, like how people perceive you correlates to other like important functional and cellular and molecular aging factors. And then last is your subjective age. All right. And subjective age is how old a person feels. Subjective age is, of course, subjective, right? And it is a measure that includes other things such as like your cognitive age, what you think is your ideal or desired age. So apparently 32. What do you perceive as old age? Because obviously some people look at old age and they think you're old when you're like 60 or old when you're 70. Personally, I look at old age as being like, wow, that's like maybe 100, right? That's old. Same kind of thing with how long do you think you'll live? Those kinds of things. So it's purely subjective to your standards of what you think about these ages. So subjective age is more the age that a person feels rather than the actual number of chronological years lived. It's your interpretation of aging. It still does include that chronological kind of passing of time. All right. Now, in graduate school, because I was interested in this concept of contextual age, and one of the doctors, Ruben Allen, he was my advisor, I decided to do a bit of research on contextual aging. And I even presented it at a conference. It's kind of one of those things that gets set aside over the years, but it's one of those things that really has always kind of popped back up in my life that I do find it so interesting. And now it can pop back up every year as we talk about it annually. I used measures of subjective age that ask you to kind of rank yourself in terms of the age groups. So rank yourself as young, middle-aged, old, very old. And then comparative age scales that ask you to rate yourself in comparison to your chronological age. Like, do you feel older, the same, or younger than your chronological age? And then also your feel age, which measures asking you what age you feel on the inside. So, subjective age is kind of simply the relationship between you and the age group that you feel an affinity with, like my millennial adjacent group. Subjective age is more important as a factor, though, than chronological age is for determining your physical and psychological well being. Now, again, I'm not alone in this. Research has shown that less than 45% of adults at any age over 18 feel the same subjective age as their chronological age. Okay. So people are not feeling how old their chronological age says. So if you feel that way, you are also not alone in this. Adults age 18 to 29, they tend to feel older than their chronological age. And those adults over 50 feel younger than their chronological age. Now, research does show that people in their 30s have the greatest variability in their subjective age. They're the most likely to report both feeling older and younger than their subjective ages. And that's super interesting to me. But realistically, that period of life probably has the most variety as far as the life changes that can affect your subjective age. So things like a career or getting married or being married or having kids, those kind of factors can make someone feel older or feel younger. So it makes sense of why there is a variation to it. And older adults typically have a subjective age that's younger than their chronological age. Although personally, I also choose to disassociate myself from this term because I think it's gross sounding. It is referred to as the denial of aging. And I'm not really denying that I'm aging. I'm simply rejecting your stupid societal constructs of aging. So take that. It's not denial of aging. So no, we're not going to accept that gross term either. And I'm 48, so I don't have to. This age discrepancy, as it's also called, is pretty common. Right. So it's the difference between your chronological age and your subjective age, and it tends to increase with age. So research shows that on average, relative to their actual age, people feel 8 years younger than they actually are. And they believe that others think that they are 7 years younger. So by this, it would mean that I would feel 40, I guess, and people would think that I'm 41. All right. So I don't subscribe to that either. So I don't think that one's accurate, but that is an age discrepancy. Maybe it works for you. It does not work for me because I'm 32. Anyway, the doctors Rubin in their research believe that chronological age was totally an insufficient indicator of human development and of the aging process. Instead, age only offers a suggestion of life position. And by relying on chronological age, we overlook important individual variations of how we choose to live our lives and our basic life position. Yes, chronological age is used because it is convenient. It is a very easy measure of time. But what if we actually used the factors that mattered, like individual situations or different abilities to cope with life and with stress, our communication, our social or psychological or health or economic conditions? But by putting an emphasis on our chronological age, we're not representing the age that someone feels or how they perceive their own aging process to be at all. Now, the Rubens looked at the actual process of aging as being more than just days and years past, but instead being related to individualized factors. So things like your psychological temperament, lifestyle, heredity, how secure we feel, the quality and quantity and types of interpersonal relationships that we have in our life, or life satisfaction, how mobile we are, health, economic security, social activity. And so they proposed the concept of a life position construct they called our contextual age to include these various communication and social, physical, psychological dimensions. They created this measure that contextual factors affect how old or young a person really is much better than chronological age alone. And it's much more than how many trips around the sun that you have survived. So just like everything over time, the contextual age scale has been updated. Overall, the concepts have stayed the same and include physical health, nutrition, exercise, stress, interpersonal interaction, social support, mobility, life satisfaction, social activity, and economic security. Now, in my own contextual age study all of those years ago, I was able to predict about how 2/3 of people felt about their age. So, like if they felt younger than they were, or same as, or older than their chronological age. Now, interestingly, my strongest predictors were through health, nutrition, and activity factors. Things like feeling in top physical condition, eating well-balanced diet, participating in sports or games or activities with others, which is interesting because those are, and I never really thought about it before, but those are the things that I really, really focus on in my life. So maybe I kind of set the tone for that back, but seeing that those factors were the strongest predictors makes me wonder about that. So anyway, now that I have reminded y'all why the number 48 means absolutely nothing to me and why your number should mean nothing to you, what can we do with all of this information? Well, last year, I compiled a list of keys to feeling ageless at any age. So, yes, we'll totally revisit that list because they're all super good, I must say. But this year now, I have put together another list 10 things that I do regularly to make me feel ageless. To me, feeling ageless isn't about being young. I don't want to be 25. I feel better and I am happier and more confident than I was in my 20s or ever really. Being ageless is about having confidence in how you look, feeling your absolute best, being successful, having good relationships, being happy. Or I went back and looked at the ones from last year, and it was interesting how much overlap my actual techniques that I use regularly that I put together this year, how they kind of organically integrate into the keys that I had from last year. So that's great. It means I'm being consistent, I guess. All right. So first, the very main key to staying ageless is living a healthy lifestyle. Okay. This is like things that I would tell you last year. I'll tell you this year. I'll tell you next year. It's just constant. All right. So maintaining a healthy lifestyle. But the first area, the first part is what you put into your body. So put healthy things into your body and keep unhealthy things out. That is on my list, of course, this year from the food that you eat. I'm a vegetarian. It doesn't mean that you have to be a vegetarian, although I do know from research that meat is definitely not good for your body in some ways, but again, it's good in other ways. So I would say it's one of those things that's just more moderation. I've been a vegetarian pretty much since I was like 11 years old. So I just have no desire for it, but that doesn't mean that you don't. It's just one of those in moderation type things. Similarly, alcohol, I know it's fun and everybody likes to have a few drinks here and there, but realistically, it's not good for you. It's not good to put in your body. That's not to say that I don't ever drink alcohol. And I do love to have like a glass of Prosecco with friends or like a glass of wine if we go out for dinner, but really it's so very rare for me. Honestly, it's not that I'm against ever having it. It's just more, I take really good care of my body. And so the thought of consciously putting in something that's really not good for my body, I don't like to do unless I have a really good reason for doing so. I used to drink a lot more wine and Prosecco and such than I do now, obviously. But again, it's one of those things that I think that in moderation. Now, the addition that I have this year that actually made a whole individual point in my list is supplements. So I take so many supplements, from just like basic vitamins to other supplements that have a specific purpose that I take them for. But there's so much out there. And I know that it's hard to gather all that information, but it's really, there's such progress in research and science, and we can know so much about the different things that we are lacking, especially as we age, that we can kind of re-add and reintroduce into our bodies to reverse signs of aging or slow down signs of aging and just make us feel overall better. The big ones that I take every day, things from very natural things, like I told you that I did a whole episode on olive oil and my great love affair with olive oil. So I still drink olive oil every single morning, a tablespoon of olive oil, and for digestion and an anti-inflammatory and for your joints and for your skin. And I'm just a huge fan of drinking olive oil. I drink collagen. I drink colostrum, which I know it kind of sounds gross. I mean, no grosser than collagen is really, if you think about it. But, and yes, I realize that's like not technically vegetarian, but collagen, colostrum, CBD, creatine. Creatine's a really new one that I just added in. I used to think that creatine was only for like bodybuilders because that's what it always seemed like it was for. And my one son, who is really big into weightlifting, he takes creatine. And I started doing some research on it when I started lifting heavier weights. And it's actually for much more than that. It's actually really good just for muscle development, muscle strength, yes, but also for your brain and keeping your brain functioning, which as someone who is in perimenopause, I like to think that maybe it's helping a little bit with my brain fog. Also, I love my hormone balance supplement. It does totally help with hot flashes. And again, and some like moodiness and bloating. And I also think that it helps the brain fog a little bit. I take a digestive enzyme with a prebiotic and probiotic every morning when I wake up. And so that's been great for some stomach issues and for bloating issues that I was having. Second, what you do with your body. So exercise totally makes my list. 100% exercise, fitness, movement. Make sure that you diversify your exercise. Use a 3-prong approach like I do: cardio, strength training, and stretching. Mix things up. I used to be a really heavy cardio girl and a light strength training. And then it would have been back around Thanksgiving. So I think I did this program for like 13 weeks, I think I counted, but where I was really into lifting heavy weights and minimal cardio. And so now I'm kind of back more in endurance strength training with more cardio again, but then always stretch. I did a whole episode on Pilates, and I mentioned the JH Pilates quote: "You're only as young as your spine is flexible." And that is so, so, so accurate, because that movement, it keeps your energy flowing, it keeps your whole body feeling good and moving fluidly. Every morning, the very first thing, take off my sleep mask and I do my roll-up stretches. I do 5 of them. It just stretches my back and it stretches my neck and my arms and my legs. And it just is a great way to start the day. Stretch throughout the day, stretch before bed. I stretch after I work out, but stretching is key. And it made my list this year of being one of the key things that I do every day to feel youthful. So yes, what you put in your body, what you do with your body. And then number 3 is what you put on your body. And so one of my points this year on my list was skincare. I'm so into skincare. I think I joked with you about my very simple 14-step nightly skincare routine, but I love taking care of my skin. My light mask is my like secret weapon. I have a light mask. I have the Dr. Dennis Gross one that I've had for a few years now. It it was a bit pricey, but it's fabulous. I know that in this time period since then, I've started to see them pop up everywhere. So I'm sure there are equally good ones that exist. And I'm sure that there are some maybe that are less pricey, but I love it. I use it every day. Mine is like 3 minutes. I use it every day. I have a little light wand, the solo light wand that I use as well. The light therapy, that's what I mean. Like there's research, there's scientific improvements that are going on all the time. And so we might as well use this technology to try to help us look and feel our best. I love serums. I have all kinds of serums. I like them much better than creams. Creams are just too thick for my skin. So I do like serums. Try to get as natural of a product as you can. Try to go with organic type products as much as you can. Make sure you're wearing sunscreen every day. Use a retinoid. Tretinoin is my favorite. I love it totally. Between that and a light mask, totally have changed the entire texture and appearance and feel and everything of my skin. I do really believe that a big portion of staying ageless is to have a confidence in how you look, how you feel that you look about your appearance, whether it's through self-perception or how you think others perceive you. If you perceive your appearance as being old or you think others do, that's going to age you. So don't let yourself go. However it is that you see yourself is how you're going to project to the world. It doesn't mean that you need Botox or fillers or whatever treatments. Although if you do, girl, you do you. I have no judgment. If you need lashes, if you need nails, if you want to keep your hair, let it go gray, embrace them. That's fantastic. Personally, I don't think I could ever do that. But if that's what makes you feel good and you look in the mirror and you feel great, then 100% you do that. But if you want to color your hair, if you want to get a spray tan, whatever makes you feel good about yourself, if you see beauty, then you're ageless. Obviously, beauty is a totally subjective construct, but whatever you can do to make you feel good about how you look, to not let yourself go, what you wear, stay up to date on clothing trends, but also embrace your individuality because you know what you look good in and you know what you feel good in. My fourth key from last year, I stick with again, and it is also on my list. Just like staying up to date on new clothing and staying youthful with that, don't get stuck. Embrace what's new. Embrace the technology, listen to new music. Yes, 100% the best music, every genre across the board, the 90s. Totally. But that doesn't mean we need to get stuck in it. Make sure that you are staying up to date on music and trends and clothes and technology, pop culture. Follow things on Instagram, follow things on TikTok. Just know what's going on. You don't want to find yourself with outdated hairdo and wondering who these celebrities are and what this music is. That will age you. You want to feel youthful. And so you need to stay up to date with all of that. Number 5, challenge yourself. Challenge your brain. Challenge who you are. Be open-minded. Open-minded, 100% on my list for this year. Be willing to listen, willing to try new things, willing to learn things. Wonder about what's out there. Be open to possibilities. Once you find yourself closing off your mind, that's when you really start to age. Always be open to growth and to new ideas and new concepts. Now, my 6th key, continue setting goals and manifesting success. Establish your definition of success and set goals to help you get there and never stop doing it. We did a whole 6-part session on goal setting. Plan for your future. Give yourself something to be excited for, something to continue moving towards. If you're not growing, then what? You're dying, right? That's the old saying. Manifest success, work towards it, continue to be growing all the time. Keep setting new goals, keep having dreams. Don't be afraid of the possibilities. Seventh key, do things that make you happy. Make your happiness a top priority. In every single one of the measures of age that we talked about, a key factor that stays pretty consistent is life satisfaction. One of the ways that I feel happy is through exercise, through movement, through working out, which is great because it aligns with what I do with my body. Another way that I really stay happy and really stay feeling good is through travel. And travel is a great way to not only enjoy the world around you and to feel happy, but it's also a way to keep your mind open to new possibilities, to new experiences, to try different things like we just said that you need to. Practice gratitude is interesting because it made my list this year, but it wasn't on my list specifically before. But practicing gratitude really does make you happy. When you start to focus on what you have and not what you don't have, you can really see a shift in your perspective. You take in the world differently. You respond to situations differently. So practice gratitude, and it helps to give you that life satisfaction that you need. The eighth key, reduce stress and anxiety. Part of this is being financially secure, emotionally secure, physically secure. Keep life as uncomplicated as possible. Remove drama, remove toxicity. Be mindful. Meditation. The practice of meditation made my list this year. Meditate. It grounds you. It allows you to have clarity. It allows you to have your center. It allows you to welcome peace into your life. And all of those things will keep you happy, will reduce your stress and anxiety, will make your life satisfaction higher, and will make you feel more ageless. Bring attention to the present moment, whether you're walking or eating or having a conversation or watching TV, whatever it is that you're doing, be mindful and present while you're doing. And the ninth, keep communicating. Family, friends, go places, do things, find organic ways to interact with people, to foster relationships, create a connection with something bigger than yourself. Whether it's a church or a spiritual community or volunteering, being a mentor to someone, if you focus only on yourself and you're only on your own needs, those people are much more likely to age. And when you participate and you're part of something that's bigger than you, it brings a meaning and a purpose to your life. And that will help keep you feeling ageless. So through this, you can build and foster quality social relationships. They help you with your happiness. They keep you active and creating a system of people that you can count on. And we need strong social support system. There's no magic number or perfect ratio of family and friends or whatever, but you do need people that you can turn to. So I love that my list from this year integrated so organically into my list from last year. And I hope that you have found something or heard something today that's going to help you in your continued pursuit of feeling ageless and feeling youthful, no matter what the number says. That chronological age, it doesn't mean anything. Thank you so much for spending your time with me here today. Thank you so much for spending some time of my birthday here with me today. I have so enjoyed getting to spend so much time with you all on this last trip around the sun, and I look forward to all the time that we're going to spend together in the next one. If you've enjoyed the show, please share it with your friends. That's how we're going to grow our community. Oh, and that would be a great birthday gift for me. Follow me on socials, on Instagram and TikTok. It's at Reframing Me. On Facebook, it's Reframing Me. And join the Facebook group, Reframing Me, the podcast community. Until next time, be well and communicate.